Gabriel Magalhaes. Every player on the planet fears Erling Haaland. Gabriel goes to war with him, and he means it literally, because he once called Arsenal's meetings with City exactly that. That's not a word you use for a striker you can handle. That's a word you use for the one who keeps you up the night before the game. Haaland has spent 3 seasons giving him reasons. He scored a late equaliser once, fished the ball out of the net, and bounced it off the back of Gabriel's head on the way past. Then told him, Arteta, and half of North London to the best striker alive, bouncing a ball off a man's head like a kid in the back row who knows the teacher isn't looking. Gabriel gives it back too. In April 2026, Gabriel leaned his head into Haaland's face during a scuffle, normally a straight red. But Haaland refused to go down, so the ref only reached for yellow, which let Haaland spend the aftermath bragging that he'd basically saved Gabriel from himself. Had he flopped to the turf like most would, his enemy walks. Asked if he'd wound Gabriel up to provoke it, he grinned. "I would never do something like that." Okay, maybe sometimes. For years this lived in the Premier League. Then, on the 5th of July 2026, the World Cup draw dragged it out in front of the whole planet. Round of 16, Norway against Brazil. And with 11 minutes left, Haaland rose straight over the top of Gabriel to head Norway in front, before drilling a second to finish the job. 2 goals, 5-time champions eliminated, their earliest exit since 1990. And the last thing Gabriel saw before flying home was the one man on earth he most wanted to stop, out-jumping him for the goal that did it. Antonio Rudiger. Here's the most damning compliment in this whole video. Antonio Rudiger is the one defender alive who's actually solved Erling Haaland. And the only way he could do it was to stop playing football entirely. Start with the numbers, because they're absurd. Against Rudiger's Real Madrid, the most lethal striker on the planet has managed barely 3 goals in 7 games. A rounding error for a man who scores in his sleep. In the first leg of their 2026 Champions League tie at the Bernabeu, Haaland had 10 touches. No shots at all. Only the second time in his entire Champions League career he failed to register a single attempt, before getting hauled off after 82 minutes. The Spanish papers didn't bother being kind. After another of these Bernabeu nights, Marca ran the headline, "Rudiger eats Haaland," while one writer announced that the cyborg was deactivated. And here's how it works. Rudiger can't out-jump him and can't outrun him, so he does the next best thing. He moves into Haaland's head and refuses to leave. He ducks under the armpit and clamps on like a rugby tackle. Haaland swats him off, so he does it on the other side. He pulls the shirt, leans on him, shadows him to the corner flag and back, until the best number 9 on earth is spending 90 minutes wrestling a man instead of attacking a goal. It isn't defending, it's an infestation. And Rudiger adores it. "This is what I live for," he said. "Those are the moments I love." That is how it was with Haaland. But this is the bit that keeps Haaland who he is. Even Rudiger can't fully win. In December 2025, Rudiger got greedy, held on a fraction too long and bundled Haaland over in the box. Penalty. Haaland picked himself up, rolled in his 55th Champions League goal and explained it with a grin. "He wanted a bit too much. He pulled me, so for me, a clear penalty." That's the trap of this man. Defend him cleanly and he scores. Defend him dirty, and sooner or later, he scores anyway. Marc Cucurella. A word of advice for every defender watching at home. Whatever you do not write a song about Erling Haaland. Marc Cucurella won Euro 2024 with Spain, got swept up in the party, and belted out a little tune with the line, "Haaland trembles, Cucurella is coming." Bold. Almost lyrical. Unfortunately, he'd forgotten to check the fixture list, because City played Chelsea on the opening weekend of the very next season, and Haaland only needed 18 minutes to reply. He strolled through, slotted the opener with Cucurella trailing behind him, and then brought the song up himself, unprompted, in his post-match interview. Like a man who'd had the lyrics framed. Somebody trembled that afternoon. It wasn't him. Ex-Chelsea man Emmanuel Petit delivered the eulogy afterwards. Don't take the piss out of your opponent. Shut your mouth, win the game, stay humble. Which means Cucurella wrote a hit single, and Haaland turned it into his warm-up music. Dayot Upamecano. Not every man on this list picked a fight with Erling Haaland. Some just got hunted across 2 clubs and the better part of a decade. Dayot Upamecano is one of the fastest, strongest centre-backs on the planet, timed among the quickest sprinters in Germany, built like a defender assembled in a lab. None of it has ever helped. Back at Leipzig, he ran into Haaland in a German Cup final and got a brace for his trouble, including a solo run that, in one reporter's words, left Upamecano in a heap on the turf, before Haaland slotted home so casually, the same writer said he'd made one of Europe's best look like a Sunday League player. So Upamecano moved to Bayern Munich for a clean slate. It went worse. When City drew Bayern in the 2023 Champions League quarter-final, they reportedly targeted Upamecano on purpose, and he obliged, giving away a penalty in one leg and then, for the opener, simply slipping over as Haaland ran at him, planted on the turf again while the ball hit the net. One newspaper's match report didn't bother with tact. Haaland lands knockout with the help of incompetent Dayot Upamecano. A fan summed it up better than any pundit. Upamecano's going to hear Haaland's footsteps in his nightmares for weeks. Which brings us, at last, to relief, because Upamecano now plays for France. France were drawn against Norway at this World Cup, and he could finally settle it. He spent the build-up talking about how much he was looking forward to the battle, how you have to keep one eye on Haaland at all times. And then Norway, already qualified, rested him. France won 4-1, and the rematch Upamecano had waited years for simply never arrived. Virgil van Dijk. Every other defender on this list is trying to survive Erling Haaland. Virgil van Dijk is the only one who fancies his chances, and he's earned the right, because he's the closest thing to an equal Haaland has ever met. This is the one genuinely fair fight on the whole list. 2 of the biggest, strongest, quickest men in the sport, and their Premier League record says it out loud. Dead level, 2 wins each, and 2 draws. On his best nights, Van Dijk has flat out won the duel. The Dutchman shepherding Haaland wide and reading his runs before he'd even made them, making the deadliest finisher on the planet look strangely ordinary. But in those 6 meetings, Haaland has still scored 3 times. Even the best defender of his generation gets beaten by this man every other game. And it gets worse for Virgil, because their nastiest meeting wasn't in the Premier League at all. When Norway hosted the Netherlands in a World Cup qualifier, Haaland didn't just open the scoring past him, he sent him off the pitch injured. Van Dijk trudged to the touchline midway through the second half to have a dislocated finger snapped back into place and strapped up. And afterwards, Haaland cheerfully took the credit. "I think I broke Van Dijk's finger. He came up to me and said, 'Damn, I think you broke my finger. I have no idea how it happened.' I have no idea how it happened." That might be the most frightening sentence in this entire video, because Van Dijk is the one man on earth built to handle Erling Haaland, the equal, the heavyweight, the gold standard everyone else is measured against. And even he walks away from these 90 minutes a goal down and a finger short. If that's what facing Haaland does to the best there has ever been, have a long, hard think about what it does to everybody else. Gianluca Mancini. Here's a defender who isn't at this World Cup, and if you're hunting for someone to blame, start with Erling Haaland. Everyone else on this list earned their scars over years. Gianluca Mancini managed it in a single night. He's no Haaland regular. He plays his football in Serie A, a safe distance from the Premier League, with no rivalry and no running battle to speak of. But he had the misfortune of being Italian at the wrong moment, because Haaland spent the entire qualifying campaign dragging Norway to the top of the group. The Azzurri were never getting past them unless they won with 9 goals. So by the time Norway rolled into the San Siro, second place and the playoffs were already Italy's fate, which meant the game was really only about pride, and Mancini drawing the job of marking the most dangerous striker alive. His master plan for containing Erling Haaland was to reach over and pinch him. On Norwegian TV, Haaland told reporters, "At 1-1, he started to grab my ass. I thought, what are you doing? Then I got a little fired up and said to him, thanks a lot for the motivation, let's effing have it. Then I scored 2 goals, we win 4-1, so that's nice. Thank you a lot to him." Norway marched off as group winners on their way to the tournament. Italy trudged to a playoff, lost it, and missed a 3rd straight World Cup. Mancini didn't cost his country anything that Haaland hadn't already taken over 8 months of qualifying. He just made sure that, for the rest of his life, his personal souvenir of the whole campaign is the memory of pinching the deadliest striker on earth, and getting 2 goals and a thank you note for it.